not one particular theme, but I think because unfortunately for men, it doesn't necessarily come natural, or it's not kind of embraced or promoted in society that men talk, that you talk about your feelings. You just talk about the good stuff, or maybe, superficial stuff, because when you talk about those heart stuff, that kind of makes you vulnerable, which will ultimately counter that narrative of being a strong man or a strong black man. So I think that would kind of account for it. That would explain. But in terms of the loss, the reason why I kind of mentioned it was in the context of the low mood and depression, because all the research shows that it's when someone experiences a real or imagined loss, that's when that's what would kind of trigger depression or hopelessness. And unfortunately, we know across the world there's a lot of black men are losing their lives. So just even observing that, I'm just thinking about in the middle of COVID and George Floyd. Oh my gosh, it was awful. All that vicarious trauma, and it was you just feel like it's you.
Yeah.
And that in itself can make you feel just totally deflated. Like, what is going on? Is there any hope? And then, I'm a black woman. I'm not even a black man. I just know the challenges for you as black men is far greater. And just when I think about the media, just kind of in preparing for the today's podcast, I was just thinking about all the factors that it have an unfortunately negative impact on black men and mental health, and how the world at large, not generally, not everyone, but some people perceive black men. I was thinking about the media. We need more black professionals in the media as decision makers, because unfortunately, when we think about TV programs, black men are usually cast in a negative light as gangsters. Yep. You're not necessarily seeing, you're seeing more now because of Black Lives Matter, but the reality is that is constantly portrayed. That's the stereotype that we're exposed to. So then when you're out in the community, people are looking at you like that, and it's subconscious.
Yeah.
If you see, and I'm being real, like as a black woman, if you see someone or a black guy or someone with a hoodie, it's automatically a negative connotation.
Yep.
And all of that needs to be challenged, and it needs to, the narrative needs to change, and that can affect someone getting a job. You should be able to apply for a job, turn up for an interview. Now, if you want your hair in cornrows, cane row, whatever, turn up like that.
Yep.
But all of that has an impact. And for me, I know I've gone through my own journey as a black woman thinking, all right, in my profession, not many black people need to turn up with my hair straight. And I like my hair straight, but it's like, you know what? No, you just need to be yourself. And I feel like in the midst of COVID and then Black Lives Matter, like I found myself, like I found my voice. I was like, I've got something unique. I'm a black woman, yes, and I'm a psychotherapist, and there's not many of us, so I need to speak up for my people. And that is what I'm doing, and I will continue to do, because that's when change comes, and we've got to embrace fully who we are and not be afraid to share. Sorry, I think I've totally deviated. But
no, it's all.
I'm just getting all passionate up
I'm
here.
glad you said that, because when you decide to stand up and speak your mind, you don't know how many people are actually dependent on someone like yourself to expose yourself and bring yourself to light, so they can actually like look up to you and be like, okay, there's someone that looks like me, and they're sharing all this information. Like there's so much that can be done with the information that you share on all your platforms, your podcast, YouTube that you didn't want to mention. Like there's so much out there in like regards to like help and information. It's just sometimes we just need to be steered in
that
like,
direction.
Into the right direction. I'm glad you mentioned media as well, because when you're speaking, I was just thinking to myself as well. I was like, since I've been a kid, since from a young age, watching TV, films and stuff, I'd always see women, female characters expressing their emotions and stuff, no matter who they are. But the men are always tough. they're gangsters, even if they're businessmen or whatever, they're always tough, never show their emotions, never speak about how they're feeling. It's always done it's very, very fast. It's never actually like delved into to a point where as an audience you kind of understand. Maybe more so today, things have changed, but I remember as a kid,
growing up,
it never really happened. You see your superheroes and stuff, they're all these tough guys, they're action, muscular, whatever, I don't care about much. And I think so as like it all starts from young. Like we're fed as kids, this image of men being these strong, tough characters, and the women are more open to expressing how they feel, showing how they feel, and all that stuff. So I think maybe that's why women are more likely to be open with their emotions and stuff, and with us not so much.
Yeah, it's a combination of things, because I think even before like mainstream Western media, if you look through like the history of time, men have always had a role of being like, you know, the breadwinner, person that goes out and slaughters and kills a couple of people in the neighborhood if something's gone wrong, whatever. I do think the dynamics of males in society has changed, and I do think it's gotten more toxic as a result of things. But there's generally, I think, through the history of time, been an expectation that like you judge a man and his masculinity on his strength, on his ability to bring home food, to provide for his family, and during certain periods of time, on his ability to kill, to slaughter, to be out for a long period of time and be able to come home with blood in his hands to show he's, you know, and you think about the most